your life is ruined. But you also ruined a lot of lives and ended 3 lives.
Every choice behind the wheel carries weight. For most people, driving is routine. But for a few, reckless decisions left behind shattered families, grieving communities, and courtroom battles that made headlines. Tonight, we look at 5 devastating cases where alcohol, poor judgment, and the road collided, with consequences no one could undo. Sean Blitchington was 48 years old and had been wrestling with alcoholism for years. By 2018, he had already been arrested several times for driving under the influence. His license wasn't just suspended, it had been permanently revoked. But that didn't stop him. On the night of July 22, 2018, Sean got into his truck after heavy drinking and drove the wrong way down U.S. Highway 301 in Bryceville, Florida. Heading straight toward him was a young couple, 21-year-old Ryan Kennedy and 22-year-old Bailey McKnight, who was 8 months pregnant. The crash was violent. Ryan and Bailey were killed instantly, and with Bailey, her unborn child. 3 lives gone in a matter of seconds. Prosecutors painted Sean as someone who had been warned again and again but refused to change. After the crash, he didn't stay to help. He ran and was later found hiding in a ditch. The jury heard the pain of Ryan's mother, who said it felt like she died the same day her son did, even though her body was still here. Judge James Daniel made it clear, this wasn't a one-time mistake. It was a lifetime of reckless choices. Sean was sentenced to 60 years in prison, meaning he'll likely never walk free again. For the families, it was justice, though it could never bring back the ones they lost. Just weeks later, in Michigan, another tragedy unfolded. Charlisha Peltz, only 27 years old, was driving with her 3 children in the car. On August 9, 2018, she sped through a red light, crashing into another vehicle. Her 3-year-old son, who wasn't strapped in, was thrown from the car. He didn't survive. Prosecutors charged Peltz with operating while intoxicated, causing death and child abuse. They argued that choosing to drink and drive with her kids in the back seat showed a complete disregard for their safety. In court, Charlisha broke down, apologizing through tears.
I want to apologize to my family. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
She insisted she loved her children deeply, and that her actions didn't reflect how much they meant to her, but the reality was unavoidable. Her son was gone. The judge sentenced her to 3 to 5 years in prison. To some, it seemed far too light. To others, it was a balance between accountability and the lifelong punishment she would carry in her own heart. Then there was Jorge Solis, a 20-year-old from Georgia. He wasn't even old enough to drink legally, yet alcohol was already shaping his future. He had been caught drinking and driving before, placed on probation, and warned about the risks. Still, he ignored those warnings. On Father's Day morning in 2016, Solis got behind the wheel drunk and drove the wrong way on Interstate 75. At 5 a.m., he collided head-on with a family traveling to Florida. Inside that car were parents and children on vacation. In an instant, the crash killed 49-year-old Michael Furlow, along with 2 children, 7-year-old Holly Young and 8-year-old Cabrin Osborne. Others survived but were left permanently injured, including a 3-year-old boy and another father, both paralyzed for life.
Our families will never be the same again because of what he did in one moment.
In court, prosecutors said Solis even tried to trick officers by sliding into the passenger seat after the crash, pretending he wasn't the driver. The judge called him reckless, noting his repeated run-ins with alcohol and the law. The verdict, 50 years in prison. At just 20 years old, Solis had effectively thrown away most of his life, along with the futures of the innocent family he destroyed. In Tampa, Florida, another case shocked the public, not only because of what happened, but because of how it was explained. In 2018, 31-year-old Amber Pereira was driving at more than 100 miles per hour on the Selman Expressway. She lost control, smashing into the Philippe family's car. The crash killed Luis, Rita, and their 8-year-old daughter, Georgia. But instead of stopping, Pereira kept driving until her car finally broke down. Prosecutors presented evidence that she had alcohol, prescription painkillers, and even cannabis compounds in her system. Empty beer bottles were found in the car. To them, it was clear she was impaired, reckless, and deadly. Her defense team told a different story. They claimed she had a seizure triggered by her medications and never intended to harm anyone.
Medications daily, including oxycodone, morphine, gabapentin, and tizanidine. The medications only helped to keep me from screaming and going to the hospital.
But the jury didn't buy it, especially after hearing she kept driving after the impact. Amber was convicted of DUI manslaughter, leaving the scene, and other charges. Her case showed how quickly excuses crumble when evidence points to pure negligence. And for the Philippe family, no medical claim could ever explain away the pain of losing 3 loved ones. The last case takes us to California. Olivia Carolee Culbreth was only 21 years old, a new mother who had been warned by courts before about drunk driving. Judges told her clearly, "Do it again, and you'll face severe punishment." But less than 2 weeks after giving birth, she went out drinking. On February 9, 2014, she sped down the 60 freeway in Diamond Bar at more than 100 miles per hour, the wrong way. Her car slammed head-on into a Ford Explorer packed with family members returning home. 6 people were killed instantly, including Culbreth's own sister and best friend. Her blood alcohol level was nearly double the legal limit. The prosecution argued this wasn't just reckless, it was second-degree murder because she knew the risks yet chose to ignore them. Ultimately, Culbreth pleaded no contest and was sentenced to 30 years to life. For the victims' families, it was one of the worst imaginable tragedies. 6 lives ended in one moment. For Culbreth's family, it was heartbreak of a different kind, watching their daughter and sister destroy her own life along with so many others. These 5 cases reveal a painful truth. Drunk driving doesn't just risk the driver's life, it devastates entire families, wipes out generations, and leaves wounds no sentence can heal. From Sean Blicchington's decades of reckless choices, to Charlicia Peltz's tragic mistake as a young mother, to Jorge Solis, Amber Pereira, and Olivia Culbreth, each case shows the same pattern: one night of bad judgment, followed by years, or even a lifetime, of consequences. The courtroom may deliver sentences, but for the families left behind, the real punishment never ends. What do you think? Are the sentences in these cases fair, too harsh, or not enough? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories where law, tragedy, and justice collide.